This is Scott, welcome to the Tall Woodworker. In this video, we're going to take a break from the lathe and instead use the bench sanders. And we're going to make a custom knife kit. Stick around. So if you go to your hardwood stores, you could usually find these kits for making custom knives. Traditionally, the idea behind this is they give you the finished steel, you supply the scales and make a knife out of it. And that's pretty much no different than what I have here. I've already done a couple of these in the past, but this knife is a new one for me. This is the Falcon Turbo Lock Damascus Knife Kit, and this is from Sarge Knives. It's a really cool knife. It's got a Damascus pattern on the blade. And in addition to that, one of the features I like in knives is it's got a quick draw on the knife. It's not spring assisted or spring loaded. Basically you press this button here and that's the safety mechanism, and then you can pretty much just flick your finger and the blade will come out. You can use this knife one-handed. So you can see there's no knife scales on this. And for that I have picked up these Ziricote knife scales from my hardwood store, and we're going to use these in combination with this knife to make a cool everyday carry knife. I like the position of the belt clip that's on here. The fact that it's closer to the edge means that once it's folded up, it can go in your pocket pretty deep and the clip will hang on your belt. So now before I get started, at the usual housekeeping items, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And be sure to hit the like button if you like this video and leave comments. I'm looking for not necessarily just encouragement, but I love the words of wisdom that people have been giving me in the comments in my videos. And if you have suggestions for something you'd like to see me try to do in the future, I can't absolutely guarantee that I'll do it, but I will give it a shot if it's within my possibilities. So let's get going on this. Since knife scales are typically mirror images of each other, I'm using the CA glue and masking tape trick to keep these firmly together. The knife requires a 14-degree angle to butt up properly against the bolster. So I'm cutting that on the miter saw, then I'm going to chop off the excess also with the miter saw. For safety, I'm taping up the blade so I don't cut myself while handling the knife. Some of these come pretty sharp, so I'd recommend this each time. Now, using the knife handle as a guide, I trace an outline and then head on over to my blade runner to cut the scales. I would recommend doing this on a bandsaw if you have one, but I don't have one yet. Using the handles and a guide that came with the kit, I drill out the holes for the screws. All holes need to be drilled all the way through with a smaller bit. I then set the depth of my drill and then counterbore 3 of the holes so that the heads of the screws would be able to go in. Time to mix up some 5-minute epoxy. I put the screws inside the scales to use as guides, then coated the inside with epoxy. I made sure to avoid putting epoxy near the screw holes, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get them in and out if I need to. I also put epoxy on the angled end to go against the bolster. Then I tightened up the screws and used some clamps to hold it all together as the epoxy sets up. Time to start shaping the handles. I start by using the wide belt sander to plane down both sides to general thickness. Once it's to my liking, I move on to the strip sander. The strip sander has an 80 grit belt on it and will do the rest of the shaping. I would recommend testing out the wood you are shaping because some woods will get eaten away a lot quicker on an 80 grit belt. Just something to keep in mind. While the scales are still flat, I'm going around the edges to true up the scales to the metal. Go slow, and you'll be able to tell when you are touching the metal. Try your best not to actually remove any of the metal, you just want to get the wood to match up as closely as possible. Once I'm happy that all the edges are flush, I round over the faces to my liking. There is really no formula for doing this. Just don't take off too much wood that you'll damage the bolster or the screws, and try to be somewhat symmetrical. Keep doing test fits in your hand, and if you think the belt is taking away too much, switch to a higher grit. If it's not taking enough away, switch to a lower grit. Once you like the overall shape of the handles, start sanding higher and higher grits. I stopped at 320 with some hand sanding, and then I used a friction polish to finish it up. So I have the finished knife right here in my pocket. Again, you got the push button safety here, and then you get the little finger nub here so that you can quickly flick out the knife and deploy it. Really sorry that I forgot to hit the record button when I applied the finish to the knife. Basically, after I sanded it up to about, I think 320 is what I got it up to. The 320 was by hand. Everything before that was using a power tool. Once I got it sanded, I used some Mylands high build friction polish and then a polishing wheel to harden that finish. And I think it turned out really good. Hopefully, I'm trying to move it around so that any reflections from these lights are, you can at least get one good shot of that. So, not a bad project for, a miter saw really only to cut this angle, and then a couple of bench sanders. That's pretty much all you need for this, and a drill press. I did use the drill press to drill these holes in here for the screws. So this is going to be my new everyday carry knife. So its home is right there. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up icon, and again, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, thanks for joining me in my shop.